Hi class, this is Dr. Flowers. I'd like to review the state transition diagram with you and show you exactly how easy it is to create. We're going to see the state transition diagram a few more times throughout the course, so it's really important that you see there's not a lot to it. You might not get that from the UML 2.5 standard definition. It says that a state transition diagram consists of vertices interconnected by arcs representing transitions. Execution is triggered by appropriate event occurrences. That is a mouthful. Um, it's a lot simpler than that. Put simply, a state machine is really a way to graphically capture the status changes of a person, a place, or a thing throughout a process. And that's what you're going to be doing as a systems analyst. You're going to be grabbing the current state, the future state based on your interviews, your observations, your analyses, and you're going to be explaining these transitions about a customer or the transitions of an employee. And in the example I'm about to show you, I'm going to show you the state transitions of someone with whom you're familiar, and that's a student. So we're going to search Visio, whichever version you might be using, for the word state. It's going to come back with the UML State Machine. You may uh, have seen it referred to as a state machine if you read the OMG documentation, but we're going to call it a state transition diagram here, and we're going to use US units. Here's what you see when you open it up. You're going to see the initial state. That's going to be standard regardless of which type of or which process or entity you document. The final state, which is the end state. The states in between, the statuses in between of the entity, in this case a student that you choose, and the connectors. The connectors represent the events that cause the state to change. So we'll start by dragging on the initial state, the final state. Visio helps us out by aligning objects for us, and not as well as it could, and we'll give it some help a little bit later once we get some more shapes on the screen. We're going to choose the first state, which is a new student. The next state is going to be an enrolled student. This is all the same student, just the various states that the student goes through from beginning to end, and then a graduate. So what are the events that happen that cause a student to move through this process? Well, we're going to use some connectors for that. And the first event to become a new student that has to happen is a prospect applies. They're not a student yet, so we're going to call them a prospect. But from that point forward, we're going to be consistent and start each of our events with the word student. So to go from a new student to hopefully taking some classes and earning some credits toward the end, your next event is going to be student registers for class. And once they've registered for enough classes, if in the case of an undergraduate, they will, the student will take 120 credits, at which point their academic journey begins or ends, depending on how far along they want to go. But uh, they've successfully moved from an applicant or a prospect to a new student. They've registered for a course or one or more courses throughout the period that they're an active student. They'll be enrolled, and eventually they become a graduate. Let's help Visio out here by selecting all of our shapes and then distributing along the middle to even them up that way. And then we'll distribute horizontally to put an equal distance between them. No whole bunch of dragging and dropping here if you know how to use these Visio aids. Hopefully now you do and you see how easy they are. And you also understand how a state transition document, a state transition diagram works. If you have questions, email me, and I think we are in position now to do some really cool things with state transition diagrams.